What up, dudes? It's Gaz, and welcome back to another Warframe video. So today we'll be covering the recently announced VALKYR rework. We got a big nerf in there, but also some really big buffs. So it's looking like a good rework. We'll be covering all the stuff happening and changing with her in the June Isle Weaver update. She's also getting a new heirloom skin in July after TennoCon, but yeah, that will be after the rework and after all the stuff we're talking about gets added to the game. So let's get right in there. But before we do, make sure to sub this channel. I do daily Warframe video uploads on this channel, build videos, news videos like this one, and everything in between. You're the place for Warframe content. And we'll also have the new Nightwave later in the month too, so I'll be covering that extensively when that is launching. But first things first, we got the VALKYR rework. All of her abilities are changing, and she's getting a new passive, and they're all looking pretty good. The one thing people are kind of worried about is the big thing changing on her 4 is it will no longer give you an entire invincibility. As you can see in the footage right now, I'm jumping around entirely invincible. You will no longer get that. You will get buffed up armor and status immunity, but we'll cover that when we get to that part. That is the main thing people are getting worried about, but I think they're getting a little bit overly worried for nothing because that's only really matter when you're past level 500 content on Steel Path. That's where health tanking usually is feeling pretty good still, around level 500, level 1000. When you're at level 10,000, besides extremely niche situations and like very specific builds and scenarios, health tanking does not work at that level, and it pretty much never really has properly worked at that level, again, unless you have extremely specific situations. So let's hop into the dev workshop we got here. Well, I also calculated how much armor VALKYR will have after her rework, because they're buffing her base armor too. So let's start off things with our dev post here. So VALKYR, Berserker is getting reworked, blah, 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 blah. We got Pablo's video right here where Pablo goes over every change coming to VALKYR for the most part. And I'm just gonna flip through it real quick just so we can cover, because they have it all down here in text as well. So Pablo is reworking VALKYR. Pablo's the person that reworks most of the frames. So first things first, she has a new rage meter over here. As you get melee hits and melee kills, you will increase your rage meter. It is up to 300% melee damage, and a hit is given like 3%, a kill is given 6%. These numbers are not final, but yeah, as you slash and destroy these enemies, you'll increase your rage meter. If you don't hit any enemies or get any kills for a while, it will drain over time. Once your rage meter is at 75% full, not 75% melee damage, 75% full, so that's going to be probably like 250-ish% melee damage, roughly, you can drain that meter to prevent your death. Good luck trying to actually even die with VALKYR at normal levels with how much armor they're going to be buffing her up with. But yeah, new passive rage meter, increased melee damage, she'll be even more of a melee monster. They're also going to be buffing her first ability massively. This ability was pretty bad. I mean, it pretty much wasn't really cast that much. But now the Spider-Man ability will pull enemies together, and it's much quicker to use. Additionally, unlike right now where it pulls the enemy to you and like flings them across the map, it will pull you to the enemy, so you'll be in melee range to destroy them. Next, her second ability, Warcry, is going to become recastable, which is very good because it was not recastable. It felt terrible. So you're probably not going to need the Eternal War augment mod anymore. Additionally, the range of the melee attack speed buff will now be affinity range, which means that your teammates will get it a lot better without you having to mod for range. Now, you probably will start modding for range because of her new first ability, but yeah, you don't need to mod for range for Warcry's purposes specifically. So yeah, the slows removed, the slows added her third ability, Paralysis, and Paralysis has been buffed up a lot. So Paralysis used to just be a terrible ability you shouldn't cast. Now you will no longer drain your shields. It will do an AoE slow, and it will also debuff the enemies for melee damage vulnerability. So not only do you have your new passive for 300% up to 300% increased melee damage, you also have a passive that does damage vulnerability for melee on enemies. So that's going to be really good for if an enemy is just not wanting to die. You just cast this once, they should be very dead after that if you hit them with a melee. So good stuff on that regard too. Now, moving on to the ultimate ability that this is what a lot, there's like 20 or 30 pages, how many pages we got right now? 72 pages of feedback, and a lot of them are saying, don't remove this, okay? So, I'm not going to act like it's not a nerf. It is a nerf. As you can see, she casts her ultimate, she no longer has gray health. In the footage right now, if you're in your ultimate, you got gray health. So what's happening now is that when you're in your ultimate, after the rework, you will have status immunity, and you're also going to have the armor buff from Warcry to be tripled. So I've already calculated it. We'll talk about that when we get to the actual description. But yes, guys, the big thing that a lot of people don't like right now is that the entire invincibility aspect of this has been removed. So that being said, she's getting some stance buffs. She has like 10% status chance right now. and that's what's being buffed up. She's gonna have four slash on some of these status on some of these combos. So they're increasing her health and armor. We'll talk about that briefly here. That meter, like I said, it will prevent death, but only when you're above that threshold, and it has no cooldown. So as long as you get that back up, you will come back from the dead over and over again. You'll get 3 seconds of invincibility once that passive does trigger. So now that we've covered all that stuff, here's the stances too. But yeah, let's go over the text version of this so we can actually see it directly what's happening. So passive, embrace the rage with our new passive. Gain rage on melee kill or melee hit. Gave it 300% damage, like we said. It will be real time though, so it won't be like, okay, it's at 300%, it's 300% the rest of the time. You have to maintain the rage meter. So if VALKYR has hit an enemy, assist will also work, giving you rage from a assist kill. Finisher and mercy kills give a large amount of rage. And remember too, her first ability will be AoE, so I'm going to get AoE finisher pretty easily with her. Melee hits grant a small amount of rage, but can trigger multiple times the same enemy. Consume all rage at 75% above when dealt lethal damage to prevent the damage, to prevent the death and give VALKYR 3 seconds of invincibility. You're also going to have lifesteal in your claws, so you can lifesteal back up to full really fast. VALKYR also has not lost her immunity to hard landings. So yeah, status immunity also while you're in your ulti. Now, for VALKYR's base stats, these have been buffed. These are for VALKYR and VALKYR Prime. So we're going to focus on VALKYR Prime right now. Her base HP has been buffed from 270 to 450. But here's the more important one for VALKYR because she has the most armor in the game. New VALKYR Prime armor from 735 to 935. So she's got 200 extra base armor. She has the highest armor of any Prime frame in the game. So, or any frame at all in the game. So I've actually calculated this. So taking a quick look at the simulacrum, I've got a Umbral build equipped to my VALKYR. With this build after the patch, I'm gonna show the before and after. So right now, I'm not taking Warcry into account. Warcry on this build is going to buff my armor by 116%. But right now, I've got 2,058 armor. I have 87% DR on my health. Does not work on shields. And I've also got about 1,100 armor. So when you cast Warcry, you buff your armor by another 116% on this build. And when the new version comes out, it will be getting buffed to triple while you're in your Hysteria. So keep that in mind. That right now, we've got 87.3. And armor has some pretty hard ramps. I guess ramp's the right word. Basically, armor has massive diminishing returns around like this value point. So you're going to see once we get the armor buff in, it's not going to look too much higher. It's like, wait, we went from 87% to 90 whatever percent. Yeah, that's how armor works in Warframe. And at the same time, though, like if you buffed it too much, you'd be completely invincible. So I kind of understand where DE is at right now. But yeah, we went from 935 to 735. Just to give you a quick heads up, I did a quick calculation here. Looks like on my build, I'll have a total of 4,656 armor with this build. I have 93.95% DR on health, and that's like 16.52 effective health multiplier. Now, the thing about that is that that's going to be great for every type of content besides level 10,000. People that are complaining on these 72 pages of forum comments, a lot of them are mad about level 10,000. The people who are complaining about this for like ETA and EDA level content, I don't think they've ever actually played VALKYR when you're not gray health, because you could get shot at by steel path enemies and take like 5 damage right now. So you'll be taking like 2 damage after this change, or maybe even less. So moving on from that, we'll talk more about that here at the end, because I know that's a thing a lot of people care about, but we're going to move on from that right now and go over to Ripline. So Ripline is now an AoE ability. It is single target right now, but as you saw right there, all of the enemies got pulled in, and it's going to be 7 meter base radius when you target these enemies, and it will scale with range. So on my VALKYR build I've been working on, I'm going to probably put like 1 range mod on there to make it like an 11 meter pull-in radius, which should be like pretty much an ensnare. Now, it won't be as good as ensnare, because ensnare will stun acolytes too. But yeah, as far as the first ability for VALKYR, going from one of the worst abilities in the game to a relatively solid-looking ability, so good stuff there. Additionally, the augment for swing line is just going to give you parkour increase with mod rank. You're not going to have, trust me, you're not going to have any mod space in your VALKYR build for that, because VALKYR is going to have a lot of mod space taken up after this. Additionally, though, you can double jump usage is reset on using Ripline, so you can literally become Spider-Man. So you just jump, you use Ripline, and your double jumps reset. You can go through the entire mission as Spider-Man if you want to. So that's pretty cool. But yeah, this will be really good for since what my main problem with VALKYR will be the range, actually, not going to be the gray health. I'll do a level 10,000 VALKYR run when this comes out to show that you can still do it with the new version of VALKYR. But yeah, her range is going to be still really bad. Like you have Excalibur over here shooting out energy waves. You got Wukong with like a 15 meter iron staff. You got Hildren bombarding the entire map, and you got VALKYR with normal range claws. That, to me, is the most egregious part of this entire rework. If she's at max range meter, she should release energy waves or something with her claws. So that's my main issue. But yeah, moving on here to Warcry. As we said earlier, Warcry can now be recast, so no longer need to use the Eternal War Augment, in my opinion. Also, the base duration has been buffed to 20 seconds from 15 seconds, and like I said earlier, it does go to affinity range, 50 meters at base. So very good stuff on that front. And it can also be recast while moving, so that might be one of your shield-gating abilities, honestly. Next, Paralysis, the ability that literally no one used because it drains your shield. It was awful. Enemies struck by Paralysis now receive a 50% base vulnerability to melee damage, and it can also be increased with Power Strength. Enemies struck by Paralysis are now slowed by a base of 30%, which also scales with Power Strength, and the shield cost has been removed, giving a 50 energy cost. It's also an upper body animation to ensure movement is interrupted while casting. So, good stuff. I mean, it was one of the worst abilities. These two abilities right here, Swing Line and Paralysis, were some of the worst abilities in the game. So, anything they change on that would make that a lot better. So, good stuff on that front. Prolonged Paralysis now, enemies will now be ragdolled to group them up with the augment for Prolonged Paralysis. So, that could be some pretty good knockdown stuff for building a rage meter. Now, as stated earlier, people are really mad about Hysteria because this line right here, Hysteria no longer turns VALKYR fully invincible. It will buff your armor, but yes, it's going from complete cheese, nothing can ever kill you because you're gray health, maybe a nullifier could get you, but besides that, nothing else, to you have more armor. You have 93.95% DR on a triple umbral build with Warcry up, with good power strength too. That being said, VALKYR is now immune to status procs while Hysteria is active. Energy drain caps at 10 instead of 15 like it is right now. Any healing from Hysteria, lifesteal is 50 per hit, which you're going to need because you're going to be taking damage during this now. And the self-reflection damage part of Hysteria has been completely removed. That was a very annoying part. Basically, you take a bunch of damage in Hysteria, and then if you're near an enemy, you just die, which was really annoying, but yes, that was a thing. Then, as we said, a big buff here. The terrible, it's 10% base status chance. These combos are now getting some force slash procs and better multipliers, so you'll be actually seeing some slash procs from VALKYR a lot more often. So good stuff on that front. Now, several of the combos have now a 300% multiplier on the hits, and now Hysteria also has IPS distribution changed, where now there's no longer impact damage on Hysteria's claws. Only slash, only puncture, so good stuff there, but the damage will still be good. Now, this is the thing let's talk more about the whole invincibility removal thing. I think that people are kind of getting a little bit overly frustrated about this because if you look at it, being completely invincible is just terrible game design. Like, really. I've read a lot of these 72 pages of comments, and people are like, well, it's all she has. All VALKYR has is invincibility. Well, I would say if all the frame has is invincibility, that sounds like a pretty terrible frame that should get reworked. If you remember from way, way long ago, that's basically how old Wukong was. Like, we're talking like 2 Wukong reworks ago. All he had is invincibility. You would just stand there and just be invincible. It was just badly designed, basically. I'm not saying VALKYR is exactly like that, but you're basically just playing as Revenant with a melee weapon right now. You're playing as a glorified melee. If I was playing Revenant, I could do the exact same thing I'm doing right now, besides, like, the cool spin jump she has. So that's the thing. Right now, VALKYR is just a glorified melee weapon. She'll still be a glorified melee weapon, but her abilities will be a little bit more useful. The abilities that were really, really bad. Like, again, Swing Line was terrible. Now, if you look at the footage right now, I'm not casting any abilities on VALKYR at all. I'm literally just jumping around meleeing. So that's what DE wanted to change, and, they had to sacrifice the... I'm not going to act like it's all like, yes, we did this just because it's all the good thing. Yes, being completely invincible is very, very exploitable, as they put it. You can macro it or whatever, too. And if you're level 10,000, it is maybe even more mindless than Revenant. Yes, you heard that right. The zombie frame is less mindless than VALKYR currently, if you have the right, energy economy set up and all that stuff, too. So after this goes through, you will most likely not face tank level 10,000 Thrax Scythe in one hit. You'll be taking, 10,000 damage, I'm assuming, through that, even with that 94% DR. So, but that being said, anyone that's getting mad about EDA and ETA content with this invincibility removal, again, you are going to be taking, 10 damage from ETA enemies. You'll be taking like 1 damage from some of these ETA enemies. It is not exactly going to be, we're like, well, I was Dre health and now I'm just dead on every hit. You are not going to be dead on every hit at all. You're going to be actually immune to status too. So I think people are overreacting for low-level content, but people getting mad about level 10,000 content, I get where you're coming from. I do. You had an extremely easy mode frame before, and now you have to basically play Nyx or Revenant to get that the same way. So I understand where you're coming from. I don't fully agree with the fact that it's like Valkyr is dead now that they took away the invincibility. I find that to be silly because you're getting so many buffs alongside that one nerf. So yes, I agree that it is a nerf. I'm not going to act like it's not, but it was silly that we had complete invincibility in the first place. So if D's trying to shave down some of these extremely busted things in Warframe, I could see Revenant getting nerfed. I could maybe see Assimilate Nyx getting nerfed, but I could definitely see Revenant getting nerfed if maybe D's trying to, like, you know, ramp into some kind of raid content. We can't have frames walking around entirely invincible. We can't have frames that are basically entirely invincible. So I can see Revenant's Mesmer Shield augment getting shaved down if we ever get like some content that matters in the future. And also one more thing too, people asking for like health gating and armor tanking stuff. I made a video on that idea like 2 years ago, and a lot of the comments on that video kind of made me realize that's not a good idea. So I know people are like, a lot of people are bringing up, well, she's got so much armor, it doesn't actually matter at level 10,000. A lot of people are saying that don't even play level 10,000 first off. I play a lot at level 10,000, and yeah, there are ways to armor tank. But the thing is, if you make armor and health too good in Warframe, it makes the game more AFKable. Yes, you heard that right. Even more AFKable than right now. So that's what DE wants to not start. If they added armor gating and health gating, think of how easy you can fully heal in Warframe for one singular hit. The Furious Incarnate with a Lifesteal mod. From 0% or from 1% health to 100% health in one bullet. Gloom in general. Gloom would be the most busted thing ever if we had health gating. So I don't think that we're going to be getting that anytime soon or ever. And if they did, it would have to have so many restrictions that you wouldn't even notice it most of the time. So yeah, I think that people should probably stop asking for health gating because you didn't really think it through properly. In the end, it would have to have like some massive cooldown too. But either way, guys, VALKYR's rework is looking good. It's got some bad to some players and some really, really good to people who actually read the other abilities besides just Hysteria. So expect this in June. Expect a new VALKYR video from me around in June at level 10,000, probably with health gating too, or health tanking too, because yeah, people are saying it's impossible at level 10,000. It is possible, just not exactly something I'd recommend. So see you guys in the next video. We got another one on, I think, Ureli Prime Access tomorrow, or maybe I forgot to do the Tag and Luck, I think it was called. So maybe I'll do the Tag and Luck, then the Ureli Guide. By the way, guys, let me know how you feel about the Ureli, or the VALKYR rework down below. Do you hate the invincibility removal? Do you love the fact that her first ability is to become like a minion snare, like I do? And I'll see you guys next time. Peace!